The corridors of Buckingham Palace have never been so quiet. For centuries, the crown has endured wars, scandals, and untold family rifts, but nothing could have prepared the royal family for this moment. When Princess Anne stepped forward with an unusually somber statement, the tone of the nation changed overnight. Her words weren't loud or dramatic. They were measured, deliberate, and heavy with meaning. And yet, beneath that calm delivery lay a deeper truth, one that could redefine the monarchy as we know it. Because what Princess Anne revealed didn't just touch on her brother King Charles's health, it struck at the very heart of the royal institution itself. It began quietly, as royal stories often do. Whispers in palace corridors, subtle absences at official events, and fleeting comments from aides who seemed a little too careful with their words. For months, questions about King Charles's well-being had been dismissed as mere speculation, but then came a pattern that couldn't be ignored. Cancellations, reduced public appearances, and finally, a discreet but telling visit from Princess Anne, who, unlike many others, rarely seeks the spotlight. Those who know her describe her as the most steadfast of the Windsors, practical, loyal, and fiercely protective of her family's legacy. So when she chose to speak, and to speak publicly, it meant something was wrong. During a quiet interview at a rural engagement in Gloucestershire, Anne was asked about her brother's health. Her response was calm, yet it sent waves across the media. The crown is enduring, but we must all recognize the toll it takes on those who wear it. No denial, no deflection, just truth wrapped in grace. Those 16 words were replayed endlessly across networks, analyzed by royal commentators, and interpreted as confirmation that the king's health challenges were more serious than anyone had admitted. Behind palace walls, courtiers scrambled. Had Anne revealed more than she was meant to? Or was this a deliberate act? A carefully measured step to prepare the nation for what was coming. While official statements emphasized optimism, insiders described a different picture, one of a monarch determined to carry on despite private struggles. King Charles had always envisioned a slimmed-down monarchy, a modern, efficient royal household. But what no one expected was how swiftly those words would become reality, not through policy, but through necessity. His health, though never publicly detailed, reportedly required a demanding treatment schedule, reducing his ability to maintain the rigorous pace he once did. And yet, he refused to step back completely. At every event, he smiled. A little thinner perhaps, a little slower to rise, but still with the composure of a man raised for duty. Behind the scenes, however, Anne was watching. She had seen their mother, Queen Elizabeth II, carry the weight of the crown until her final days. She knew that sense of responsibility and its cost. And that's why she stepped forward. Anne has always been described as the steel of the family. Where others might retreat from difficult truths, she confronts them head on. It's said she met privately with the senior palace aides earlier this month, insisting that transparency was the only way forward. The public, she argued, deserved honesty, not speculation. What emerged from that meeting, according to sources close to the household, was a new communication strategy. Fewer official denials, more clarity when possible. It was Anne's doing, but there was more to her concern than public perception. She feared that the growing uncertainty around her brother's condition could destabilize the monarchy, especially as global attention turns to the next generation. In private, Anne reportedly told one confidant, "We've weathered many storms, but this one feels different. This isn't scandal, this is time itself catching up." By the time the family gathered at Balmoral, Scotland, late this summer, the atmosphere was unmistakably somber. Cameras captured brief smiles, polite waves, but not the easy laughter once seen in those Scottish hills. Something had changed. Princess Anne, Prince William, and Queen Camilla reportedly held extended private discussions with the king, focusing on the future of the crown. According to palace observers, succession planning, once considered distant, had become an unavoidable topic. No one spoke publicly about it, but the message was clear. The Windsors were preparing for a transition, whether the world was ready or not. When news outlets began running headlines like "Princess Anne breaks silence on King's health," the public response was immediate and emotional. Messages flooded social media, words of love, concern, even guilt for having taken the monarchy for granted. For many, King Charles represented a bridge between eras, the last living link between Britain's past and its uncertain future. Anne's statement, though subtle, was a reminder that even the crown cannot defy time. In villages and cities across the country, church bells rang in prayer vigils. At the same time, political analysts began openly discussing the constitutional implications of a potential regency, a word rarely spoken aloud. But through it all, the Princess Royal remained silent, her earlier words echoing louder than ever. Royal correspondents described it as one of the most delicate balancing acts in modern royal history. Too much information, and panic spreads. Too little, and rumors multiply. For Princess Anne, that balance is personal. She has always believed the monarchy's strength lies in its honesty, not in its mystique. And so, even as tabloids speculation spiraled, she refused to play the denial game. Instead, her team issued a calm statement. Her Royal Highness appreciates the concern expressed by so many and asks that focus remain on the king's comfort and continued service. No drama, no sensationalism, just dignity, and somehow that silence spoke volume. In the end, what Princess Anne revealed was not just a tragic truth about her brother's health, it was a reflection on the fragility of legacy itself. She reminded the world that even monarchs, those symbols of continuity and endurance, are human. They age, they tire, they falter, and yet they continue. It was a moment that brought back memories of the late Queen's final years, her unshakable sense of duty despite the toll it took. And in Anne's voice, many heard echoes of that same quiet resolve. She had not spoken as a royal, but as a sister, as a daughter who had watched her mother's final chapter, and as a woman who understood what it means to carry history on one's shoulders. "We serve until we can no longer serve," she once said. And when that day comes, we trust the next generation to continue the work. Her words now feel prophetic. As autumn settles over Britain, the crown stands at a crossroads. King Charles continues his duties, limited but unwavering. And by his side, Princess Anne remains the ever-faithful guardian of the royal legacy. No one knows what lies ahead for the monarchy, but one thing is certain: this new chapter will be written not in ceremony, but in courage. Because in the end, what Princess Anne confirmed wasn't simply tragic, it was timeless. The truth that even crowns must one day rest. And that, perhaps, is the greatest act of service of all.